I watched Crossroads featuring Britney Spears for the first time ever. I'm a Britney Spears fan and I've never watched Crossroads before. Like, what? So I finally did it and took notes. I want to walk you through this movie. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to be spoiled, probably don't watch this. I think we need to talk about this movie and the fact that it's come out over 20 years ago and I'm just now watching it. And it came out at the height of Britney Spears' success. Crossroads is about 3 childhood friends that embark on a cross-country adventure, and it was released on February 15th, 2002. Such a good, feel-good, iconic 2000s movie that we need to reflect on. I think it's the only movie we're ever going to get from her, unfortunately, but let's dive into it. This movie has Britney Spears playing the main character, Lucy Wagner. Also, Taryn Manning is in it. If you don't know who that is, she played in Orange is the New Black. She played in 8 Mile. She's definitely like a pretty known actress, I would say. And if you don't know her from acting, you probably know her from being wild AF on social media lately.
Anyway, so I've been licking your man's butthole for weeks on end because he likes it a lot and I do it to him and he comes to me. And it happens.
She was really cute in this movie. And then we also have Zoe Saldana. She plays Kit. So those are the 3 main girls. Zoe was also in Avatar. She was in Star Trek, Guardians of the Galaxy. As far as like some supporting characters in the show, Justin Long is in this for like just the beginning part of the movie. He plays Henry, which is Lucy's like school friend. Anson Mount, who I'm not familiar with, but he plays Ben, who is like one of the main characters, I would say also. Lucy's mom is played by Kim Cattrall. She plays Samantha in Sex and the City. And I just started watching Sex and the City for the first time ever, like over the past year. That's another show that I'm like, why did it take me this long to watch this iconic 2000s masterpiece of a show? She also plays the mom in Ice Princess. She plays a lot of moms in a lot of different like shows and movies. A lot of big names are in this movie, and I feel like probably the cast was like, oh, Britney Spears is in this? I'm in. Shonda Rhimes was the writer. She's a big writer and producer, and she's also produced like Bridgerton, Grey's Anatomy. The movie made $50 million at the box office. Ka-ching, ka-ching. The movie was going to originally be titled What Friends Are For, which I'm really glad they didn't go with that. It just seems a little bit too much like, of course you would name it that. Crossroads is like a very good classic name of a movie. Let's go ahead and dive into the film. So the movie starts off with the 3 girls as their young versions of themselves. And while I'm watching this, I'm like, hold on. Young Britney Spears is played by Jamie Lynn Spears. And it was actually her first acting gig, I guess she's done. They're like, they have this little box, putting this box away in the ground. They're like, hey, when we graduate high school, let's make a pact that we're going to dig up this box and look at the items we put in it. So Britney Spears' character, Lucy, she puts in a locket of her and her mom. And I guess her mom like left her and her dad when she was like only 3 years old. Mimi, which is played by Taryn Manning, she puts in a keychain of like the world. Kit put in a bridal Barbie. She's like, I want to be married when I'm older. That's her dream. They bury this box. They make the pact. It's like 8 years later, and you see Britney getting up in the morning in her underwear and tank top, and she's dancing. She's having a good time. It's definitely giving opening scene of Lizzie McGuire the movie. You can really hear her real singing voice, which is like that deep, southern, rich voice, which love. Her dad comes in and he's like, are you so excited you're valedictorian? So we know off the bat, Lucy is smart as hell. So they're at school on graduation day and looking, I'm like, Mimi is pregnant. Lucy's dad is like so excited for her to pursue becoming a doctor. Lucy puts a lot of pressure on herself to like make her dad happy instead of just making herself happy. That night, on graduation night, Lucy is crying. Her dad's like, what's wrong? You know, she's like, she's realizing, looking back at her high school career, that she didn't experience anything because she was so focused on school. Then it skips to prom. I'm guessing it's prom. They're at like some formal event. Mimi approaches Lucy about digging up the box. So none of these girls are friends anymore. Obviously, you can tell from the start. They all went down very different directions. And Lucy's like, sorry, I have plans. And she walks away with her lab partner, Henry, who's played by Justin Long. And then Mimi goes and finds Kit. And Kit is like, I am not digging up some stupid box. Kit's being all whatever. I think Bowling for Soup plays the graduation band in this movie, which is so early 2000s. One of the guys in the band, his name is Ben Kimball. And they're like, oh my God, did you hear? He literally just got out of jail for killing a guy. And Kit's like, wow, he's really cute. But then Kit's like, well, I'm taken already. I'm engaged. We find out Kit is engaged. She's literally like 17, 18 years old, just graduating high school. And she's engaged to a guy named Dylan that's in UCLA. And her friends are like, yeah, he's probably cheating on you. But she's like so in love, so excited to get married, loves Dylan and all that stuff. So then we see the scene of Lucy in the hotel room with Henry, and she's like wearing lingerie and his jacket. And I'm like, oh, like maybe they really like each other, but they're trying to both lose their virginity before college. Mostly like he's more concerned about it. And she's like, yeah, like we can have sex because he really wants her to. I thought it was funny. She's like, go over the list of like why you think we should have sex. And his reasons are,
reason number one, we've been lab partners for 3 years. Okay. So we really trust each other.
That's really important. Okay. Trust is very important. Reason number two, we are both 18 and have never done it. Very important.
Okay.
Reason number three, we both want to do it. Reason number four, please, Lucy, come on.
They start kissing. Lucy starts laughing. They end up not doing the deed. So then we have a scene where this guy walks up to Mimi. I'm guessing it's Mimi's ex-boyfriend. He's like, you let some guy do you in the backseat of your car over Christmas break. He's like, that baby's not mine, but I still want to like help you. And she's like, no, leave me alone. So Mimi is looking for the box in like the field they buried it in. Kit runs into her, and then Lucy shows up too. They start digging up the box. They find all their stuff. So Kit has her bridal Barbie. She's engaged to some trash guy named Dylan. Mimi sees like a keychain of the world, and she's like, yeah, like when I was younger, I told myself that I was going to go experience the world and go to the ocean and put my feet in the sand. Then Lucy finds the locket of her and her mom, and she's like, I need to go find my mom and see her. She's just been too scared to come find me. And Mimi's like, I want to go to California to audition for this record company. If you guys want to join, we're leaving at 7 a.m. I'm like, wow, okay. So initially I'm like, okay, Mimi has vocals, I guess, because she's wants to go audition for a record company. But we find out later on that she doesn't really have vocals. Not like Britney does. So I thought that was kind of weird, but I think she just really wanted like a one-way ticket out of her town. And then we see out throughout the movie that like every time Kit calls Dylan, she's like, oh, okay, like that's fine. Like it just doesn't seem like it's going very well. Lucy's like contemplating looking at this locket, like, should I go find my mom? This could be my way to go see her. I need to go to Arizona. That's on the way to LA. So then she sneaks out early morning, leaves a letter for her dad, and is like, basically, I'm bouncing. I'm gonna go find my mama. Good for you, girl. Like, you've been pleasing your dad all your life. I'm guessing she's 18 now, so she's legally allowed to go. So Lucy walks to meet Mimi for the road trip, and Kit also shows up because Kit wants to visit Dylan in LA. And then there's a guy driving this convertible that they're all in. This guy's really cute, and we find out that it's Ben, the guy that everyone was saying like, oh, he someone. Lucy doesn't know that he's possibly killed someone, so she's taken aback and she's like, wow, he's kind of cute. And they're both like, they have like a little moment. I'm just sitting here like, okay, they have a convertible and it's really cute and nostalgic, but also I'm like, did it not ever rain on their road trip? And also, how far of a drive do they have? Initial thoughts, I'm like, what's the plan here? And I know I was not alone because Lucy later on asks, guys, what's the plan? How much money do we have? Where are we staying? How many miles are we going to drive a day? And everyone's like, we didn't think about this. They're driving, they make a rest stop. We see like Ben's kind of checking Lucy out. They were like riding in the car, and Kit is trying to like switch up Ben's music. Like Ben is listening to like some like hardcore rock, and she's like switching it to NSYNC, Bye Bye Bye. Bye bye bye, make it tough. So crazy to me because Justin Timberlake and Britney were dating at the time. Kind of shout out to her man at the time. Then Britney starts singing Bye Bye Bye, and they all start jamming in the car. Besides Ben, he's not about NSYNC. Ben stops because he's tired, and this is when we find out Ben is very protective over his car. He's like, nobody's driving this car besides me. They're hungry. So they go to the Waffle House, are like counting all the money they collectively have together because Lucy's like, what's the plan here? And that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, what's going on? They find out they have $436 to their name. And I know this was like in 2002, but that's definitely not enough to like be driving to LA. I just found out where they all lived because while I'm watching this, I'm like, how far of a drive is it from where they live to LA? Because then I'm also like, well, I don't even know where they live. In the movie, they live in a small town in the state of Georgia. Let's see how far this is. Georgia to LA. Let's just put Atlanta, Georgia. 31 hours of driving time from Atlanta, Georgia to LA. Depending on how many hours a day they drove, that's a good amount of days to be on the road and have no plan.
That's America for you.
They get to a shitty hotel because that's the only hotel they can afford to stay at. Kit's like, ew, I'm not sleeping here. They're in the bathroom. They're talking about how cute Ben is.
No, Ben. Just from around. God, he's so cute.
Lucy finds out that he was in jail for killing someone, and Lucy is freaking out because Lucy's like the good girl.
He like killed a guy. Kid. What? That's what I heard. Excuse me? He killed somebody?
No, he did not kill anybody. I don't think.
I'm on a road trip with a killer and you're telling me not to be upset?
And Mimi is like, so what? He did his time, which I thought was so funny. Maybe he went to jail for killing someone, but he did his time. He's fine. That's basically what Mimi's saying.
So he may have killed someone, okay? So what? He did his time. He paid his debt to society.
Oh my God, you for real? No, you for fake. No, you for real.
The next morning when they're getting back into the car, Ben's like,
hey, Lucy, do you want to drive with me up front?
Lucy's like, hell no, I'm not driving up front with the serial killer. So then Ben's like, hey, are you mad at me or what? And Lucy's like, I'm not mad at you. And the car breaks down. They're on the side of the highway in Alabama. He opens it and Lucy's like, oh my gosh, I know my stuff because my dad's a mechanic. It's your radiator. So then they sit there, they wait for a tow truck. Mimi and Kit start fighting.
Girls like me?
I didn't make the rules, Mimi.
Not my fault. Everyone thinks you're a trailer trash skis. Stop it. Come on, don't touch me like that. Guys, don't. You're pregnant. I don't care.
Mimi, you pregnant? And Mimi was really trying to throw hands. And Lucy breaks it up.
Stop! I'm so sick of the two of you bitching and fighting every damn second of the day.
Well done, Mama.
They have no money to fix the radiator, let alone do they even have enough money to like go for the rest of their trip. Mimi has a good idea though, to make money. They're going to do a karaoke contest in Louisiana.
Okay.
Basically, they go to this bar. They're all underage, but nobody has to know that. You do your show, and while you're performing, people walk around with a bucket, and anybody that like loves you can put money in the bucket. But the amount of money that they make from this is like actually insane. Very unrealistic. They're up there, and Mimi is like front and center, and then Kit and Lucy are like in the back. Mimi's up there, and she's just like has a lot of stage fright, and she's like starts singing, and it's really not the best. She's like, I can't do this, and everyone's like, boo, and it looks like it's not gonna work out. They get Lucy to go up there. And they all look so good, by the way. They're like, we need to look hot for this if we want to get all the tips. They start singing I Love Rock and Roll. Iconic. But she just so good. It's like a good cover of I Love Rock and Roll that does not sound like the original at all, but it's still really good. She like gets up there. She's like shaking her hips. She gets on a pole. They make enough money to fix the car and to stay in nice hotels and just not worry about basically anything for the rest of the trip. You're telling me you made that much money from a karaoke contest? Afterwards, they're like counting the money and chilling at the bar they were at. And this guy goes up to Lucy and Ben is like, punches him in the face and they dip out of there. And Ben's just like in a weird mood after that. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for doing that. And he's just like, oh, like you can tell he has some kind of anger issues.
I'm a guy, just a guy. And that's my car.
They get a nice hotel. They're all having the time of their life. Lucy and Kit are over here like drinking. They stay up all night talking because Ben dipped out. They all had like a very long, deep conversation, and they really all three connected. BFFs again, basically. And then we find out that Mimi is pregnant because the one night that she really like got drunk, a guy like offered to take her home, and from my understanding, and that he was drinking out of a blue bottle. And she didn't go into like specifics on who it was, but she basically said that. So then they get into Texas. They stop at a rest area. Ben falls asleep in the car. And they're all like, oh my gosh, we should let him sleep. Lucy, steal his keys out of his pocket. And I'm just sitting here like, he's a person. And so Lucy's like, oh my God, let me do it. And so she steals the keys out of his pocket. They start driving with Ben sleeping in the backseat. Ben wakes up and freaks out. He's like, pull over the car. They pull over the car. He gets out of the car and literally starts having a temper tantrum and just starts like kicking. So then Lucy goes over and is like, I'm sorry, comforts him. So while they're driving, Lucy asks about jail. They find out that he didn't go to jail for killing someone. He went to jail basically because his stepsister was getting beaten by his stepdad. So he went and like picked up his stepsister, took off with her so that she wasn't getting abused by her stepdad. The stepdad pressed charges. So it was just like a miscommunication thing, and rumors that went around saying that he went to jail for killing someone were untrue and false.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
Next, they stop at a lookout spot. They end up camping there because it's so beautiful. Lucy and Ben are camping by each other and she's writing. Ben's like, what have you been writing this whole time? And she's like, oh, just poems. And he's like, will you read me one? And so she starts reading this poem. And I realize it's the lyrics to I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman by Britney Spears.
I used to think I had the answers to everything, but now I know that life doesn't always go my way. It feels like I'm caught in the middle, and that's when I realize that I'm not a girl, I'm not yet a woman.
Ben and Lucy almost kiss, but it gets interrupted by Mimi and Kit. They get back on the road the next morning. They arrive at Lucy's mom's house, and it's like this really nice, decked out house. Ben and her say goodbye, and Ben kisses her forehead. Lucy looks so nice. She walks up, goes to the front door, knocks on the door. You know who answers the door? Samantha from Sex and the City. Her mom's like, oh, Lucy, like, why are you here? And Lucy's like, because you're my mom and I want to see you and I want to meet you. Lucy sees that she has pictures of her new family. Lucy's mom is like, Lucy, we need to talk. And then it cuts to basically Lucy showing back up at the hotel room the rest of the gang is at. And she's visibly upset. She's like mascara on her face. She's soaked from the rain. And then apparently we find out that Lucy's mom told her she never wanted her and that Lucy's dad made her have her and basically told Lucy that she was a mistake.
This is exactly what I was afraid of.
Even if you felt like that as a mom, which I could never imagine, why would you tell someone that? Ben asks Lucy for the poem she read him. He leads her to a room with a piano and tells her he wrote music for her poem. And he ends up playing the melody to I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman. And they sing and he performs. And I'm like, oh my God, if a man did that for me, we're getting married right then and there. And then they finally kiss, of course. Calls her dad and she's like, you were right. Leaves him a voicemail and she's like, you were right about mom. They jam out to If It Makes You Happy by Sheryl Crow. They get to LA, get to their beach. Mimi is thriving. She's by the ocean, just like living her best life. Kit calls Dylan and she's like, hey, I'm in LA. And he doesn't seem very happy that she's there. He's like, yeah, I can't hang out right now, basically. So Kit and Mimi go sightseeing and Lucy and Ben stay back and they do the thing. They go sightseeing, but Kit's like, no. We're making a pit stop. We're going to go see Dylan. So she goes and surprises Dylan at his apartment. Kit knocks on the door. And the whole time, Mimi's like, no, can we not do this? Like, I didn't even notice that she was so like against it. So then they get there and Dylan and Mimi know each other. And Kit's like,
that's suspicious. That's weird.
And then there's a girl at Dylan's apartment and Kit's like, hey, we're engaged. And basically Dylan's cheating on her with this girl. Kit looks down and she notices Dylan is drinking out of a blue bottle. And Kit obviously remembers, oh my gosh, the guy that Mimi and got her pregnant was also drinking out of a blue bottle. It clicks in her head and I audibly gasped. I did not expect for that to happen at all. And she ends up punching Dylan in the face because Mimi taught her how to fight on one of their pit stops. And then it gets crazy. Mimi falls down the stairs and she has to go to the emergency room. I'm like, OMG. Like, I already know what's going to happen. Mimi ends up losing her baby. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Lucy's dad shows up at the hospital and's like, I had to go through our savings to get out here to get you. Basically, Lucy's like, you're right, I need to go home. So then Lucy's packing up to go home. Ben tells her he got a band for the audition. Like, they're all going to audition together. And Lucy's like, I have to go home with my dad. And Ben is like, obviously upset, like he loves her. So then they all get in the cab to go home. Ben's like, bye, super upset. She basically tells her dad, she's like, I don't want to be like her. And I'm like, at first, like, who's her? Her mom.
Don't make me do what she did. Don't make me run. Let me go, okay?
She gets out of the cab, runs after Ben. I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman starts playing in the background. She kisses Ben and her dad is looking at her. And I'm just like, ah. Brittany goes to the audition with Mimi and Kit, and Ben is on piano, and they have the band, and she sings I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman. Her dad's watching in the audience. Everyone is gagged. Everyone's like, wow, this girl could be a pop star. The final scene is them putting things away in a box, and it's the same items, and they're like, this time, we're putting these away to get rid of them, not to like find them in the future. It was kind of a deep movie. Like, it was very fun and lighthearted. I thought this was such a good movie. I'm really happy I watched it finally. So my initial thoughts is that people do not run to Hollywood like this anymore. It's just crazy how much has changed in like 20 years. Nowadays, if someone wants to get famous, like they're gonna put stuff on TikTok. I want to go on a cross-country sporadic road trip with no money and no plans with a good group of people. I'm like, how freaking fun. So I thought that was really cute. Brittany slayed the bucket hats in this movie, which is why I'm wearing one now. I feel like definitely they were like, Brittany is at the height of her career. This is when we put her in a movie because people are obviously going to show up to this movie just to see her. Was all the acting the best? Obviously not. But like, yeah, it ended up making a lot of money just because like people wanted to see Brittany and she was so likable. I did find out some fun facts from this movie. So apparently 2 things that Brittany requested while she was filming this movie was tuna Lunchables and edamame, which is so like Louisiana and Southern of her. Like those 2 combos, like I could definitely see her requesting those. And then also before filming, she went to go buy her own Starbucks every day because she liked the freedom. Also, Justin Timberlake and her were dating when she was filming this movie. And so he would go visit her on set. And apparently during rehearsals, Brittany would doodle Brittany and Justin surrounded by hearts in a notebook. And also, I didn't know this, but apparently in her I Wanna Go music video, Brittany drives past a theater and like the sign on the theater says Crossroads 2, Cross Harder. I wonder if there was ever like serious talk about a sequel happening, because while I feel like it obviously wouldn't be as good as this original, like the first movie, how cute would that be to have all of them in there? Obviously though, Brittany, Taryn, the girl that plays Kit, like they're all at very different like places in their life right now. I don't know in what world there would be a sequel to this movie, but I thought that would have been cute if that would have been a thing. Have you guys watched it? You gotta let me know what you think in the comments. Go watch it if you haven't. A very unrealistic movie, but it was fun. I liked it, and I'm glad I watched it. Let me know what your favorite like early 2000s movie is, and maybe we could like do a watch, a rewatch, and talk about it a little bit. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'll talk to you guys in a new video soon. Bye.